Hi guys, welcome to today's video. So okay, we'll try this again. Hi and welcome to today's video. So it's been a long week. It's been a long week and a long day awake. So today we are going to start the sketchbook series. So I was thinking of waiting a week to start this, but there's a project in here that I'm really excited about. I want to bump it up to next week's videos, and also the one I had planned for today I want to get a little bit more footage for. So today we're going to start a little series, and it's basically that we are going to go through this sketchbook together. So from front to back, not in that order. I'm going to show you how I get, when I get a new sketchbook, how I start it, and then how I progress through the book. So you might be surprised, I usually actually jump straight to the back of the sketchbook, but we will go into all of that. And first of all, we're just going to talk about which sketchbook we're using for this project. Okay, so I have been on the search for a sketchbook that has cotton paper inside and is linen bound. And I found this one on Etsy, and I was hoping that this would be, the winner and something that I could continue to purchase and use when I wanted a ready-made sketchbook. I really have been enjoying making my own or just tearing up pieces of cotton paper and putting them into a travel's notebook. But I do sometimes like, just to have a nice bound book that I can turn to. So I was hoping this was it. This is, let's see. So this one is from Print Urchin Press and Bindery on Etsy, and it's got the Rosa Spina Fabriano cotton paper in it. So I think it's 60% cotton, and it doesn't have an external size on it. So yeah, it sort of makes it a little bit easier to lift and things like that if you're a beginner. But you can see here that the papers, a lot of the papers are glued together. So unfortunately, this is not going to end up being my go-to sketchbook. So I don't like to give bad reviews on the channel, but I just don't think that this is something that I will continue to repurchase. So, I know a lot of you like to go out and use the same things that I'm using, but I can tell you that the last sketchbook, or the paper pad that I shared and that we've been using on the channel, that is still my preferred one. And so everything that we're doing in here, you can do in that one. I have just been moving through that one quite quickly, and so I wanted to see if I had just a bound book that we could go through this series for. I think it'll work for the series, but I'm not saying that for the price. The price is okay at $22, but I paid more than that for shipping as well, so it ended up being quite an expensive purchase. And the linen is actually like a synthetic linen, and then the pages were glued together. So I wasn't overly happy, at that price point for this book. So even though we're going to use it for this series, I just don't want you to think that you need to go out and have this sketchbook. And also, if you have a recommendation for a linen bound fabric sketchbook with like a cotton paper inside, that'd be great if you could leave it in the comments below. And we will look at some of my other sketchbooks that I'm enjoying at the end of this video as well. So to begin this series, I thought it would just be nice to kind of do this page right in the, right as you open the book, because I've been getting some questions about this, and I just thought this would be a good place to do it. I usually don't start at the beginning of the book, and you'll see that in my next video. So the next video, we're going to go into my usual place of starting in the book, and you'll be able to see everything in that video. But for this video, I just wanted to jump in and do this little quick sort of stenciling in the beginning of the book here. Okay, so what I'm doing here is just taking a large brush and wetting the entire surface of the page, and then we're just going back in with watercolor. So one of the things that I wanted to show you with this page is that you can use your sketchbooks you know, as part sketchbook, part art journal. You don't have to, if you want to, you know, paint and use watercolors, you don't have to do drawing. You can find other ways to use the watercolors and make really beautiful pages. Okay, so you can see that I have wet the page. I have now put watercolor on the water, and then I'm adding different colors in as well. So you can make this as colorful as you want. You can just use one color, and you can see at one stage there that I also dropped water back onto the page to try and create some blooms and some interest, especially since lilac is a non-granulating color, so it will smooth out on the paper. So I tried to create some interest there with that, and then also on this page, I've gone back in with water and let that drip down the page, and then I have added watercolor to the, you know, drops of water to let that go down the page and create a nice effect as well. Okay, so then we're going to just let this fully dry, and you can continue to add layers if you want to build up layers, if you want to, you know, add any other collage pieces or anything like that at this stage, any writing, you know, anything like that. And then once this is all dry, we're going to grab a stencil and we are going to create the next portion of the page. Okay, so I'm actually using a cake stencil. This is a damask pattern cake stencil, and I'm using the Nouveau embellishing mousse. Well, actually, you can see here that this is pretty much dried up, so I tried to use this and I was struggling, so I just used some texture paste, and so anything like that that you have some sort of texture paste or embellishing mousse. And then I've just put the glitter. This is actually for embossing. It's embossing powder, but I'm just using it as glitter. And then I sort of use the spatula to scrape that along. And then basically we've created a beautiful page to begin the sketchbook, which has really lovely texture and, you know, starting to think about shapes and pattern and form. So then I'm actually using some of this cloud confetti. I think this is also Nouveau, that I usually have on my desk, and I get asked about this as well. So I'm just showing you kind of how I would use this, and I'm just using it in the texture paste and then also smoothing that into it as well. So you can see this is a super easy page, but it's going to be really effective and beautiful to begin your sketchbook here. So you know, one of the, I guess the two questions that I, you know, get a lot are how to advance in watercolor, but also if you don't want to do drawing and things, you know, that are pretty technical, how can you still create beautiful pages? And so this is definitely a great example of that. So I was really happy with how this turned out, and you know, this is something that you can develop through your sketchbook. You can use you know, multiple layers, different stencils that you might have, different glitters, and just have a lot of fun with it. Okay, so this sketchbook on the left is a Sennelier linen one, so I have been really enjoying using this for kind of little special things. I got this one at Cornellisen Sons, which the link for their shop is below this video, for a different sketchbook. So then you can see this one's a little larger, and you can see how thick the paper is. That's one thing I really do like about this. You know, I love the color of it. I love how thick the paper is and that it is cotton paper, but you can see here that almost every third or fourth page you have these huge tears where you had to open the pages to use it. So, you know, that is pretty disappointing considering, you know, after you pay for the notebook and shipping how much. And then you can see some of the other pages have the ridges down the middle of them. So, you know, I'm just letting you know that, and, you know, most products that I review on here, pretty much all products that I review on here, they're not affiliate link unless you use the Jackson's affiliate link, which I really, really do so much appreciate. It's just a really big help for, you know, the channel. But anyway, so thank you if you have used it. But you can see here, so I was just trying out the same technique that I've used in the little Sennelier book. It has more cream paper. It's not watercolor paper, but I have been enjoying using watercolor and pencils. And so I tried kind of the same techniques in this on the Rosa Spina paper, and I really did. I do enjoy it, and I do enjoy like using my nib pen on it. So, you know, this paper might be a good paper for some of you to try out. It's still not one of my top papers, but as far as if you're a beginner, it's quite a nice one. And then I also don't mind this handbook sketchbook. So this one has a nice fabric cover, and the paper's cellulose inside, so it's not cotton, but it is quite a nice paper. We use this sketchbook for the color spotlights, so I do enjoy using it for that. Okay, so you can see here, this is where I started to think about a more natural palette, or at least I'd been thinking about it for a while, but I started to sort of try and put one together with more natural colors. So thinking more about having a modern palette with brighter colors and, you know, creating a different feeling. Yeah, but you can see here that the colours do perform really nicely on this page, on the paper, you know, even though it's cellulose, the granulation is really nice. I like the blooms that it creates, and, you know, I've done those on purpose. So overall, I do quite enjoy this sketchbook. Okay, so this one we have used on the channel for most of last year. So this is the Cornellisen Sons. This has a beautiful vintage image on the front, and then it's got Fabriano paper in the middle. So I think they market this as a mixed media. It's not necessarily a watercolor sketchbook, but I really enjoy it. I like that you can use you know, you can see here, this is where I've sort of discovered that the Sennelier pastels go really nicely with water over them. So, and we've done like a lot of these swatches and things on the channel, but yeah, it takes coloured pencil really nicely. Just quite a nice, easy sketchbook for me to use. So I often have this one linked below. I get a lot of questions about this one. Okay, so this one is the Heirloom sketchbook. I also really like the paper in this one. If anyone knows what paper they use in this sketchbook, let us know below. I'd be interested just to buy a pad of this paper and make my own, you know, sort of inserts for my traveler's notebook or something. I really don't like the cover, the vinyl on the cover, so that's pretty much the only thing that stopped me from, you know, buying multiples of this sketchbook. I just didn't want sort of a whole shelf full of this vinyl fabric. So, but yeah, you can see that the paper is really nice. It creates nice textures, and you know, it's just a very easygoing sketchbook to use. So I'm also kind of giving you a little sneak peek into my sketchbooks and the types of things that we'll be going through in this one as well, and kind of as working sketchbooks, what does that entail? So okay, so you can see these are some of the sketchbooks I've been enjoying lately, and you know, they've all got their I guess pros and cons. So those are some of the things I want to kind of show you so that you can, you know, think about which sketchbook might suit you better. This is one of the recent ones we've been using, and I have really enjoyed this. So apart from the fact that it's not a hardbound book, I've been really loving the paper and just really enjoying working with it and using it. So, and I know that some of you have gotten that and enjoyed that as well, and I do highly recommend that as well. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is this traveler's notebook. So I got this as a second chance on the Chic Sparrow website, and I've just got a notebook in here. So this is a fountain pen notebook, a blank one. It's not for watercolor, it's not a sketchbook, but I've been really enjoying using it, and we've used it quite a bit on the channel as well. I like using this setup to swatch new products, to try new products. I find it just a really easy way to kind of do that, and I enjoy the way the watercolor sits on the paper. So this is a really lovely one if you enjoy watercolors, you're collecting them, but you're not necessarily sure what to do. You don't want to advance necessarily artistically, you just want to enjoy your watercolors. You can splash them all over the pages and just create little nice moments, and then you can either journal over the top of it, use quotes, collage, again like the stenciling that we did, anything like that. So this one here is a standard size traveler's notebook, and I'm using this one for my nature journal. So you'll see this more about this in the nature journaling series, but I have just torn up pages from the you know, large cotton sheets and created a little insert here, and I've also used some of my printables so that I can add extra notes or anything that I need to add on, you know, or want to remember about that as well. Okay, so this is the project that I'm super excited to show you guys. So I bumped everything up so we can do this video next week. So this is a video about Impressionism with watercolor. So I've been thinking about this for a while and I wanted to give it a go. So again, the sketchbook is the perfect place to begin working on ideas that you might have like this. So this is why it's in this series, and you can see this was the first time I tried it, and yeah, I sort of used one of Monet's paintings, and I just really enjoyed this whole process. So I am excited to share this video with you guys. And then also coming up is a video about water control. So hopefully this has a few good tips and techniques, and we can also paint this beautiful floral. And I'm thinking maybe of doing this on a week where I compare another either floral with it, or another video about some more water control. And then this is going to be our next video. This is my current palette, and that's the first thing that I always do when I start a new sketchbook. I flip to the back and I do some swatches of the palette that I'm using at the time, just to try out the watercolors, try out the paper, the watercolors on that paper, etc. So, okay, I'm sorry, it's been a long week. So I hope you guys have a good weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye.